Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where our entire focus is helping commercial janitorial contractors succeed. You want a growing company, a thriving team, and healthy profits, and we are here to help. My name is Jordan Tong. I'm the founder of Elite BSC, a company dedicated to helping janitorial companies grow and thrive. I also serve as CEO and one of the owners of France Building Services. France is a janitorial company employing nearly 600 people. Since 2007, we grew from 1.5 million to more than 20 million in annual revenue and built what I think is one of the best teams in the world. The goal of Elite BSC in this podcast is to give owners in the industry a vision of where their company can be and the information and tools to get there. I want to share what I have learned over the years to make this a reality for you. Hey, building service contractors, it's Jordan Tong here, your host. Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where my goal here is to help commercial cleaning business owners be more successful in their businesses and help them grow and thrive and find more freedom in what they do, but also more joy in what they do and a bigger impact with their organizations. And as an added bonus, hopefully we become more profitable along the way. So today I'm going to riff on something a little bit more sort of related to something personally that I do. So in the last few, well, let me back up here. I've got 6 kids, and 4 of those are boys, and we are a basketball household. So I live in the state of Kentucky, and if you live in Kentucky, by default, you are a basketball fan because we have no professional sports. And our one sports claim to fame is the Kentucky Wildcats. And so I grew up a basketball fan and played and as I was younger and always have loved the game and would play on and off, even in some rec leagues and stuff as I got older. And my boys love doing the same. And my oldest son is 16 and will be a junior in high school. And we play at the local high school here. And my next youngest son is 12, and he's going to be entering the 6th grade. And they recently lost their coach, the middle school coach at the school. It's a small private school. And this coach was actually my coach when I was in middle school there. And I was asked to be the coach. And if any of y'all know me, like I have my hands in a ton of things, and owning a commercial cleaning business and doing stuff for Elite BSC takes up a significant amount of my time, and among a handful of other things that I do. But my son really wanted me to do it, and I knew it would be a good thing for the school. And I love basketball, so I decided that I would do this with a couple of caveats in it. And so anyway, this summer, really just within the last month or so of taking charge of this and trying to hash out some of the details, and I had some open gyms and that sort of thing. And I absolutely love it. It's completely night and day different from what I'm doing in my day job. But it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So one of the things I was thinking about that this weekend. And obviously, my personality is to spend a ton of time just sort of diving into the topic and wanting to understand coaching philosophy better and how I should coach and the things I need to implement. So, knowing how to do something is a long way away from teaching other people how to execute and do that same thing well. And so that's what I've been pouring myself into. And so it made me think a little bit about there's a lot of things as I start diving into this, that there's a significant crossover between what I'm doing as a coach and what we're doing in our businesses, leading and running our businesses. Or, you flip it around. There's parallels between the two that are, in some ways, really striking. And so I wanted to go through, I've got 6 of these that came to mind as I was jotting down some notes on this, that I think things that I'm feeling the necessity to do as a coach that are parallel to things that I think are necessary in our businesses. And so I wanted to point some of those out. So the first one is beginning with the end in mind. And so, this is a pretty common, almost a cliche phrase, but the idea is, as you set out to do something, to plan something and build something and work on something, there has to be an end goal that you're going after. What's called a telos, an end, a target that you're after, and really, and then you begin to orient yourself and your actions and your practice plans and all that stuff towards that end goal. And so, I had this picture in my head of what this basketball team should look like. Right now it's a mix of some skilled, some unskilled players, some motivated, some less than motivated players, not really operating as a team on the court. And it's sort of a mess a little bit in some ways. But picturing what it could look like by the end of the season will help direct what we try to do during practices and in games throughout the season. And I think the same thing is true in our business. We need to have some sort of an end goal, some sort of a thing that, like a picture of where we're trying to get to, that is going to help. And, this would be similar to, the vision component in Jim Collins' book Good to Great that he talks about. Like the idea of having this North Star that you're aiming towards. Might not ever get there, but this is where you're shooting for. So that'd be number one. Number two is core values. So, this is something businesses talk about a lot. They often get lip service. I think often they don't actually, the values don't actually get feet and make its way through the company. It's just sort of a thing that gets put up on the wall. But I saw this, as necessary as a coach, that there's something that we're focusing on. So with these boys, I care about their skill and player development, on the court, and want to see them do well. And it's fun, and it's especially helpful for young boys. But I also want to see them grow as men and learn to be good young men, and their characters, their character begins to build and grow in a positive direction over time. And so we came up with some values as a team, and so for us as a basketball team, and these are sort of related to the game of basketball and also to them as persons, is discipline, virtue, and grit. So these are three things. Having 4 sons of my own, they're all things that I want my sons to have and to embody. And so that'd be the fabric of what we do in practice. We'll talk about it a lot, and we'll remind the players of these values, and we'll emphasize them when we're running drills and when we're doing conditioning work and we're running plays, that we want to be disciplined and excellent in what we do, that we want to display the right kind of virtuous character in what we do. And we want to have grit. We want to have this toughness, this physical and mental toughness that we will continue to push even when it hurts, even when it's boring, whatever it is, we're going to keep pushing. And so I think in the same way, I've seen that this resonates really true in our own company, that our core values of, humility and excellence and integrity, those things matter. And they're things that we emphasize. And over time, they begin to... You begin to see them reflected in the actions and the people that we have around here. And I think that's necessary. Every company will develop its own soul and character, and that can happen unintentionally, or it can happen with intentionality. And I think doing it with intentionality is obviously the preferred method. So, number 3, and this would be for those of you all with growing businesses. So, one of the things that I agreed to take this coaching position, if I could have, I needed somebody, I said, I'll do this if I can get somebody that will help me handle all of the details that are unrelated to coaching. So, when you think about a school basketball program, like there's everything from concession stands to, cleaning up before or after the games, someone working the door for, letting people in and admissions. There's the scorer's table and someone keeping the score. There's hiring referees. There's team uniforms. There's scheduling. Like there is a ton of communicating with the school. There's lots of different components to it. And in order for me to do a good job leading, in particular in coaching, I felt like there needed to be somebody that could handle other things for me so that I could turn my attention to those things that I was best suited to serve the team with. And this is so true in our businesses. Our goal is not ever have to do anything as owners, but to get people in place so that we can focus on the things that where we're going to best contribute to the organization. So you think about it in your cleaning company, like, let's say it's, training cleaners, for instance, or filling in holes. Let's say that you're even, dragging your rear end out and cleaning sometime because you don't have anybody to fill that particular spot. Like, it's just not a good use of your time as the owner. Not because you're above it and can't do it. Of course you can do it. I mean, we're in the cleaning business, for crying out loud. Like, we're not too good for any of this kind of stuff. But it's not helpful. It's not helpful for you to be answering the phone. It's not helpful for you to be, maybe running payroll yourself. Like, there's lots of details that have to get done, and they're important, but we need help along the way to get those done. And as owners, we need to spend our time focusing on the things that matter for us, and the things that we can contribute, and really things that other people, it's going to be difficult to find someone else to do those particular things that maybe only we can do. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, this has been interesting. Something I really didn't think about is going into this. A lot of these kids that I'm coaching have played basketball, but a lot of them have not been taught really well, and they don't know fundamentals really well. And so maybe they're athletic and they know how to play the game, and they know the basic rules and they know the basic fundamentals, but they've not been taught well. So there's lots of things that are off, and they're not going to get better maybe until we take some steps backwards and work on something. So, for instance, a guy may learn how to dribble better and is going to be quicker on his feet and be able to move faster on the floor with the ball, which will make him a much more dynamic player. Or someone who has improper shooting form may be able to crank out some shots right now, but they're never, ever going to develop the consistency that you would like to see in a player until they correct their form. And good form will produce consistency over the long term. And man, the same is true in our business, right? Like, there are people on our team, and there's all sorts of habits that we've accumulated over time that are not good, and we need to make sure we're executing on the basics and doing it really well. So taking care of customers really well, that maybe our quality control process is done really well, that our hiring and training process is done well, that we're selling well. Like, there's some basics of the organization. We're handling finances well. Some basics in terms of profitability and managing budgets and doing the little things that will set us up for success. Those are important, and we need to make sure that we're not losing sight of those and becoming inefficient and sloppy as an organization, because we'll never be able to get better unless we have a good foundation there. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5 is getting my players to trust me. So I've got these players that don't know me, except for, a couple of them know me. And they're going to be sitting under my leadership, and I need them to trust me. Like, I need them to be willing to execute in a game, and in order to do that, they have to trust me. And so one of my jobs, I think, is not only helping them, but like, I want them to know that I'm in their corner. Like, I'm their biggest fan. I want what's best for them. So I'm going to praise them more than I'm going to criticize them. I'm going to encourage them relentlessly and push them to get the best out of them, in hopes that they will know that I'm on their team, that I care, that I want what's best for them, which will make them be more willing to listen to me. So a friend of mine and a mentor once told me that the people who demonstrate the most love in someone's life, those are the same people that have the loudest voice in that person. So if someone thinks, man, that person really loves me, like they really care about me, then that person's voice will loom large in that young person's life. So true. And this translates over to our business, obviously. If you're an owner, all of your key leaders need to know that you have their back, that you care about them, that you love them, that you want the best for them, and that you're willing to sacrifice for those things. And that will get buy-in from those people who will want to loyally follow your lead. which is a beautiful thing. And I think it's something leaders we often overlook. This is part of our job. We want people to do what we want them to do, and we get frustrated when they don't. Well, one of the ways we can fix that is by we sacrifice and we invest in those people. Let them know that we care about them. And we're working to get them to follow our lead. And that's often done by demonstrating our love and care for them. So, okay, that's number 5. Number 6, the last one here is, and this one's been a challenge for me as a coach, a brand new coach, and also this has been a challenge for me in business as well, is the tendency to second guess my leadership and my plan and what I'm doing. So, when you think about, like, let's talk about basketball first for a second. You think about, I know where I want to get to as a team. I know how I would like to see us play. And there's lots of decisions along the way that I have to make to get us there. And so, and my team doesn't see yet, maybe I need to do a better job communicating this, where that end goal is. So if I'm making them do conditioning work that is really painful for them, and they're complaining or, this or that, like I can second guess, like, man, is this necessary? Am I torturing these kids unnecessarily? Or maybe we're running through specific kind of drills that seem boring and the kids just want to run. They want to run 5-on-5 and play live action ball, and I'm making them do drills. Like, is it necessary to do these drills? Like, how important is this? What, how does this fit into the plan, and do I stick to it? And even, having an assistant coach or two that has their own ideas or maybe offers some criticism. And it's not that I want to be immune to criticism. Like, I obviously need the feedback. But there are decisions we have to make as leaders, and we have to stick to them. And sometimes we're going to be wrong, but we need to be willing to have been wrong. But we also need to be resolute in what we're doing, not to a prideful level, but maybe a humble resolution that here's the course and we're sticking to it. And over time, we're going to get people to buy into it. And I've seen the same thing happen here in our organization. I don't want to, I think a lot of credit is due to our company president here, Brian Lewis, that has charted some of this for our team and really worked diligently over the last 5-6 years to get people to buy into it. Maybe at times where he's second-guessing himself or other people are second-guessing him. But he has stuck to it. And I think that's important for us as leaders in businesses to have that sort of a mindset that, that we're going to have a plan that we've carefully considered, and we're going to stick to it to execute, to achieve that end goal that we have. And there's going to be criticism along the way, and we need to be humble enough to listen to it, but also not so fickle and people-pleasing that we're constantly capitulating to, the whims of everybody. And that's a tough balance that every leader has to work through, but I think it's one that's important. So, I don't know if this is helpful or not. I love basketball and coaching, and I also love business, and I think there's just so many things that are, from the leadership standpoint in particular, there's so many crossovers between the two, and I think it's helpful to reflect on one to maybe help us see how we can do a better job in another. So, if you love basketball or you love business, hopefully this is helpful for you. And maybe I'll give you some updates later on how this whole thing is going, coaching, and if these parallels still ring true by the end of the season. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. If you found the information in this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. If you would like more resources or help to grow your cleaning company, head over to EliteBSC.com. We have loads of articles, videos, free tools, coaching options, and a lot more. If your company is greater than $500K in revenue and you want to take your learning experience to the next level, check out our mastermind group. You can learn more about that at EliteBSC.com/mastermind.